And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and it is time to count down the top 10 budget cards in NBA 2K22, my team. Look, at this stage, I mean, we're getting to the end of the game's lifespan, right? You should spend your MT on whatever you want, but for those of you that still want to hold on to some MT for either pack-related purposes, maybe you're waiting to grab like the card of your dreams or something of that nature, let's talk about some budget cards. Let's get on to the top 10, but first, 4 honorable mentions. Number 1, by the way, I always constitute a budget card as a card under 25k. That being said, there are exceptions. LeBron, for sure, being an honorable mention, is due to a few different things. I mean, he's not the most meta card in the world, but Alter Ego LeBron is specifically the one I would highlight here. But I mean, you can go grab NBA 75 LeBron too. He plays obviously just fine at the small forward position, being that's his natural position anyway. 6'9", 240, just absolutely diesel, just yoked for no reason whatsoever. Remember, this is Bron in the midst of his high grade training. My man is swole, dude, for no reason. He's linebacker size. But he can move too. Now, he doesn't have the most meta jump shot in the world. It's a wee bit on the slower side, but it's not the biggest deal. It really isn't. It's very easy to green. It's just a good release altogether. I mean, 60 Hoff badges, 19 golds. Like, this card's stupid. I don't really need to talk too much about the badge counts and, like, really anything when I talk about these cards, because it's just like, you already know what you're getting yourself into. It's a 60 Hoff badge LeBron that plays shooting guard. If you're a LeBron fan, pick him up. If you're looking for somebody who's just a little bit different that you're not going to run into all the time, you just want to try something different, try out this LeBron. He's really good. I was using him for a little bit. He's good. Honorable mention number 2 is another card I don't typically run into too much anymore, and he's more of a current gen guy than an next gen guy, and that's LaMelo Ball. Specifically, I would go for Cryogenesis if you can get him. He's a little bit more expensive, but I think he's a little bit more worth it. But the Gamma one's just fine too. Like, it doesn't really matter. Either way, LaMelo moves really well. I personally think his jump shot is phenomenal. Some people hate it. I personally think it's fine. Cryogenesis LaMelo has 50 Hoff badges. There's not much you need to give him really at all. He comes standard with pretty much everything. 6'8", 180. Like I said, he moves really well. His player build does look smaller than a lot of guys that are about 6'8", 6'9", though. Like, I will say that. He probably looks 6'6", 6'7". Like, he doesn't outright look that much bigger than, like, a J.R. Smith. He doesn't. Like, really. That being said, LaMelo's good. He plays tough defense. He can get open without the ball in his hands if you're someone who likes to, you know, carry the ball with, like, let's say, a shooting guard or something of that nature. Like, LaMelo plays good off the ball. Jump shot's good off the catch and shoot and good off the dribble. He can move, he can dunk, he can do a little bit of everything. He's really, really good. I wouldn't recommend playing him at the small forward, but you could. If you want like an all ball handler lineup, like, you could definitely get away with running him at the small forward. 6'8's big enough to do that, for sure. Honorable mention number 3. Come on, it's my list. You know my boy Rudy's stepping up in here. He's like 7,000 MT, and I would be willing to say for that price, he's towards the top of the small forward category for that price. He plays really well at the shooting guard as well. I personally always prefer Rudy at the small forward. It just feels more natural to me. But that being said, shooting guard, he's just fine. You could look at his badge count and say he's like washed up or, you know, past his prime a little bit due to the badge count. I feel like there's a specific way. Outdated. That's what I meant to say. I don't know why I called him washed up. But, like, it really doesn't matter. The 35 Hoffs are really everything you need anyway. Like, I mean, all the gold badges are just, like, quote-unquote extras. But for 7,000 MT, I mean, Rudy is phenomenal. He is. He can really still play with the best cards in the game. It really doesn't matter. He's got a phenomenal jump shot, a huge player build. Like, he moves really well. There's not really much I could say that, like, is negative about Rudy. And then, speaking of cards with lower badge counts that are still phenomenal, final honorable mention, Danny Granger has no reason to be off this list. 6'9", base 29, phenomenal release, one of the more slept-on releases in the game with Trae Young base, I would say. Jaden Ivey I would put in here too. A lot of people like him. I just would like to, you know, kind of spotlight him as well. But Danny Granger has every badge that you need him to have. I mean, as far as badges he doesn't have, he really doesn't need anything, like, at all. Gold badges are fine. You can leave all these golds. Not going to be the end of the world. Just like LaMelo, Danny Granger can play the small forward just fine too. So if you want to run with the small forward, you could easily do that. Granger moves well. He shoots well. He dunks over people. He plays tough defense. Big player build, can guard multiple positions. It doesn't really matter. Granger is elite. Not like the show on Netflix. Like, Granger isn't terrible. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to get one elite stan in the comments mad about that. Number 10, on to the actual list. Dyson Daniels. Talked about this card enough. I mean, he's 6'8". He's got X and base. He, which, by the way, is a really slept on release this year, which is crazy because, like, that release was so overhyped last year. It just goes to show how things can flip-flop, you know, in the 2K lexicon very fast. Dyson Daniels is sometimes a little bit over. If you can get a badged up version of him with like some additional hoffs, you're going to need those. But at the same time, Dyson is one of the sweatiest point guards in this game. He's more of a threat on current gen, I think, but he's like fine on next gen as well. I mean, really, he's good. He's just like a better version of LaMelo almost. On current, I don't know. That's tough to say. He's very similar to LaMelo. I've just noticed the sweatier guys will use Dyson over LaMelo. That's what I've noticed. Number 9. It couldn't be anyone but Tracy Mcgrady. Specifically, I would say Supernova T-Mac would be the one that I would go for. Gamma T-Mac's okay too. Like, T-Mac plays fine at the small forward. This year you can kind of run small forwards. Like, you can get away with running guys who are like 6'7", 6'8" at the small forward at this stage, which you could absolutely not do last year. I mean, you're still going to get abused by someone running a bigger small forward, but people don't really incorporate small forwards in their offense all that much. So you could definitely get away with it if you want to go for like a cheaper T-Mac. But Supernova T-Mac would be the one that I would go for here. Granted, none are showing up at this time because there's just not that many out there. But he is going for right around 25K. He's good. I mean, he's T-Mac. He's better on next gen for sure than he is on current gen, but you can definitely get away with running him. There's really no problem there at all. Like, T-Mac's phenomenal. We'll just take this Gamma T-Mac, for example, because they're basically the same guard. Like, it doesn't really matter. The Wiggins behind the back kind of sucks, I will admit, but T-Mac's T-Mac. I don't really need to talk about T-Mac too much. You guys know what it is. Number 8. Kind of low because people are hyping this card quite a bit, but Kareem. Specifically, NBA 75 Kareem. Like, which, of course, because I searched it, it's not going to show up at all. Let's just go to Lakers Kareem. How about that? We'll go to team. We'll hit the Lakers Kareem for sure. Lakers Kareem, interesting for sure. Does the NBA 75 one not have like a theme? I feel like maybe. Here we go. He's been fluctuating all day. Certain times, like, he's been under 25K. Certain times he's closer to 30, like he is right now. He requires shooting badges. That's the real thing about this card that you need to know. Like, right off the bat, as good as he is, he doesn't have sniper, volume shooter, deadeye, clutch shooter, chef, limitless, circus threes, blinders. Like, right off the bat, he needs these shooting badges to really thrive. But 7'2", he's fast. He can dribble, which is kind of crazy. You didn't really expect that. He's got 96 speed. Like, Kareem's nice. 85 three-pointer, which is fine. Endgame tendencies. Kareem is one of the best power forwards in the game. You can run him at center, too, just fine. Like, he is so good. He just requires those shooting badges to really get off the ground. I think he's better than someone like Kristaps, personally. I really do. Which is kind of crazy. Next up, we have, you know, Michael Jordan, obviously. And the reason I put him low is because I've talked about this card so much that it's just not really even that fun anymore. That's really the only issue here, is that I've talked about this card too much. He's still one of the premier shooting guards in this game, and if you're someone who can handle and, you know, maneuver the dribble moves that he has, you're in for a good time with Michael Jordan. Like, and I would put multiple Michael Jordans here. I wouldn't put a specific one here. I would put, you know, out of position Michael Jordan at point guard. He's really, really good, obviously. I would put NBA 75, Zero Gravity. All the Michael Jordans would go in this slot. And I'm not going to go and talk about MJ too much because you already know he's one of the most overpowered cards this year for sure. Most people already have him, which is part of the reason why he's kind of lower on this list. Number 6. This is a card that I feel like does get slept on a little bit. I wish we had a dark matter Jabari Parker. I really do. Jabari Smith, he's good. I've talked about this card quite a bit for sure. He does look a little bit smaller than 6'10". He looks probably about 6'8", personally. Kind of like Juan Hernangomez, like same thing, same kind of vibe there. But this card's got everything. There's really nothing negative to say. I mean, even his gold badges are fine. The badges he doesn't have don't matter. Like, this card out of the box is complete. You could run him and match up with the best small forwards in the game with Jabari Smith. He's that good. He can move too. Like, there's no negatives to running Jabari Smith. I don't really have a whole lot to say about him, but, you know. Number 5, Lamar Odom, dog. You already know what it is. Shout out to Lamar Odom, dude. I still don't even have this card. I haven't purchased it, but I do now. Let's go ahead and purchase it with a little shoe action. Sure, why not? Lamar Odom is so much fun, dude. Paul George release, 6'10". He doesn't have the most quote-unquote meta dribble sigs, but they work just fine on next gen and current gen. Doesn't matter. He has the same leaner as Tyler Hero, so my man could just stroke leaners too. Granted, he's going to shoot from the lefty, so it's going to be a little bit different. But Lamar Odom is nasty. And I mean, we've had enough Lamar Odoms this year that we kind of know what's up. Like, we had Pink Diamond Flash Lamar Odom, he was fire. We had the Opal Lamar Odom, who was also fire. So, the reality of the situation, most of us are we're accustomed to Lamar Odom at this point. In 2K, Lamar Odom is typically like a 2K demon, so we know. And there's really no way to explain how good he is. You just have to play with him, you know? Next up, we got young homie JR, dude. I would say all the JRs go right here. Specifically, Origin and Dunktober JR would be the two that I would say go here. Those are the two easiest to use point guards in the entire game. Like, you can pick these guys up, it doesn't matter what your play style is, and they will thrive. If you're a 3-hunter, they'll thrive. If you like to drive, they'll thrive. If you like to ghost off screens and either hit the 3 or take the dunk, they will thrive. Any offensive system that you run, JR will thrive in it. It really does not matter. JR is so sick. Also, shout out to JR for just like getting mad at a fan trying to like videotape him at a pizzeria and just throwing his phone into an active construction site. Like, super shout out for that. That's so sick. Looking through JR's arrest records have been great because he just gets arrested for like the funniest shit. Like, nothing really that criminal. It's just all kind of hysterical stuff that happens. Shout out to JR. I love JR. Like, as a person and as a player and as a card, phenomenal. JR is great. He really is. I like how they call him the Henny guy because he literally doesn't drink Hennessy. It's kind of fucked up. Number 3, big Luca. I would say all the Lucas kind of fit into this. Anything that's under 30k Luca wise. I would probably go with the My Team Anniversary one, since he's just like a better version of like the Power Within or Signature Series one that you can get for like 9,000 MT. On next gen, this is without a doubt the best budget point guard in the game because you're getting that Luca base on very quick. Nice, dude. That's really cool. You're getting that Luca base on very quick, which is very solid, obviously. And to a certain extent, I would say the Fearless Luca deserves to be in there too, because Luca plays really well at the small forward. Like, no joke, he does. So don't sleep on that one. Like, if you already have a point guard that you really enjoy, like, small forward Luca can hold it down as well. Everyone knows about Luca this year. He has like an uncontestable jump shot on next gen. It's ridiculous, and if you want a piece of that action and now you don't have to spend a ridiculous amount of MT, get in there too. Get in there and get some of that Luca love. Number 2, I mean, it couldn't be anyone else. Young Taco. Taco is the most annoying center in this game by a country mile. It's not even remotely close. He grabs every goddamn rebound. He's huge. He moves. He has a great jump shot. There is no negatives to running Taco Fall. None. None whatsoever. Dude, Taco will literally be a net positive on whatever your team looks like. It doesn't matter. Whoever you're running at power forward, doesn't matter. Taco will be there, and you're going to match up against Taco every single time you play this game online. So it's probably beneficial for you to also have like a big center. Taco, Ralph Sampson, Boban, just someone. Taco would be the one I would recommend because you can get him a little bit easier. I hate him. Number 1, come on. It couldn't be anyone. Tyler Hero. The most underrated card in this game. I stand extremely firm on that. So underrated. I really am not somebody who hypes Tyler Hero in real life. I'm not someone who hypes Tyler Hero in game. But I promise the Trae Young release on this Tyler Hero card, on current gen at least, is one of the best releases in this game. He has the Trae leaner too, so we can stroke leaner, same leaner as like most of the endgame cards, which is like ridiculous, especially on current gen. Please, someone let me know how he works out on next gen. I don't feel like downloading next gen again, especially with like a month left in the game's lifespan, so I don't really want to try him out over there, honestly. But Tyler Hero is probably the most fun I've had with the card in a while, dude. Like, I'm having so much fun. He dunks on everybody. He can cross people, dude. He hits phenomenal leaners constantly. He makes a lot of whites. He's got a fast jump shot. You can green consistently. Just great. Just a great card that I think everybody should pick up, especially for this price, for like 8,000 MT. You really don't have much to say. Like, it's really a nice risk reward. He might actually make your squad. Like, you know how surprised I was to have Tyler Hero be my starting point guard? Shocking, right? I run him over so many better point guards. Like, It's nuts. Like, I run him at the shooting guard or the point guard, depends where I want to play Tracy McGrady, but Hero, dude, just holds it down. And he does look a little bit bigger than his 6'5 would kind of indicate. He does. 55 Hoff badges, 11 golds, just doesn't really need anything, dude. Like, he doesn't have brick wall. So be it. Like, he doesn't have, like, rim protector, which I'm sure people will say, oh, you need rim protector. And on next gen, probably, but on current gen, you don't need it. And this card is probably one of the best cards in the game on current gen. As always, it's been your boy Cheap Loots. Drop a like on this video. Go check out Mids Only, my second channel. Get that popping for me. And I'll be back on Twitch later, so peace.